So with the release of the Wuthering Waves version 2.2 livestream, it seems like a lot of players are very excited for some of the changes coming to the game. Now obviously a lot of these changes included a lot of events, main story and characters, which is just a lot of the usual stuff, but where Wuthering Waves usually shines and where a lot of gacha games usually shine is in the extra stuff that they provide for their audience, whether it's to do with rewards, whether it's to do with events, whether it's to do with IRL events, or whether it's to do with coming out on new platforms. And well, this is one thing that Wuthering Waves have actually announced and is very, very exciting. This is something that I've been asking for in pretty much every single video of me talking about different platforms Wuthering Waves is on and how they can improve their advertising in general, and it seems like they are finally doing it, and we're going to talk about it and talk about what the Steam version of Wuthering Waves could actually bring to the game, and also what other platforms are left that Wuthering Waves could actually branch out to, you know, kind of improve their game in general. But before I get into this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and also go to GameStop, use my code KAZA, get 10% off. Again, they got a ton of really cool stuff over there, so I definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, let's get back into the video. So this was the actual announcement over on the Wuthering Waves Twitter, saying we're thrilled to announce that Wuthering Waves will launch on Steam on April 29th, UTC+8. They say the Steam version will support seamless data sharing across PS5, PC, and mobile devices. So that means if you've got an account on PC or PS5 or even on a mobile device, you can actually go and, you know, switch it over to Steam, and I think you can actually go backwards and forwards, so it doesn't really matter, you know, you're not really transferring anything, which I think is really great because it allows people to have a little bit of seamless play, and I think that's the case for all of the other kind of devices as well, which honestly I think is just brilliant, because, you know, it just allows you to play Wuthering Waves wherever you want without there being the issue of being like, this is the wrong device or this is the wrong version. And I think this is something that a lot of just modern video games are kind of implementing anyways, and it's good to see that Wuthering Waves is actually following suit with that, and that we can actually switch between a lot of these platforms. They say whether you're a newcomer stepping into Solaris or a seasoned explorer ready for new challenges, you can fully embrace your adventure on the Steam platform. Get ready to embark on a new journey as captivating stories unfold. Add Wuthering Waves to your wishlist now through the link below. So they actually provide a link to the Steam page, and this is the actual Steam page over here. Now Wuthering Waves, as you can see, is already here, and there's a couple of key factors that makes this update so great and makes this change so great that could really help out Wuthering Waves in the long term. With the first one being the obvious one, discoverability. If you don't know, Steam has a whole store page where you can literally go through and browse through a ton of games, and obviously Wuthering Waves is going to be free, so they're going to be somewhere near the top, which again will just be great to see, because I feel like there is going to be a lot of downloads from the initial release because people are very excited to see it come over. And I think this discoverability is going to help bring a lot of new players over, but also keep Wuthering Waves going during those kind of smaller patches, during those kind of periods where there is a down period, you know? I feel like the audience is going to grow massively to the point where there isn't going to be this kind of feeling of, okay, you know, we're waiting for the next update now. And I feel like there might be some kind of perpetual motion actually going now as new players keep on joining and joining over from Steam, because the only kind of, you know, income that Wuthering Waves is getting in terms of players is from their own kind of advertising, and it's from their own kind of discoverability. But this time it's actually taking place over on Steam, which hopefully could entice a lot more players to come over and grow the player base even bigger, so during those down patches it doesn't feel as bad, and we have even more new players trying out the game, asking questions, watching content, which could create an even better space in my opinion. I think that's something that like a lot of people haven't really been thinking about. Obviously, you know, it's very obvious it's discoverable, it's very obvious that a lot of people are going to find it over on Steam, but the real fact is that it is going to help keep Wuthering Waves just better during those kind of low patches, during those kind of low rough periods, which we've had quite often in Wuthering Waves, which again I think is great. Now, will it make much of a difference in version 2.2? Probably not, because the update is much shorter, meaning it's going to be jam-packed full of content. But, you know, for future ones, maybe 2.3, even though I don't even know if that version is going to be, you know, that bad either, because it is going to be an anniversary. Maybe 2.4, 2.5 in the later stage of the patch, you know, when there is a little bit of quietness, maybe, you know, this could actually help out, and this could actually provide a difference that people will be able to see. Now, also, another reason why Steam is so good for Wuthering Waves at the moment is because of the user reviews. I feel like user reviews is going to help out quite a bit, because lately, all of the reviews and feedback that Wuthering Waves has been getting is through either the kind of you know, survey they put out, or it's through the reviews on PS5, or it's through the reviews, you know, through some other means as well, which again is great and all, but also it's great to have another opinion over from Steam, and you can easily browse through and look at some of people's opinions and some of people's problems with the game and get a general general consensus of what they could change and what they could fix. And obviously, as we know, Kuro Games is a company that does go and fix their game. They don't just ignore these reviews. They don't just go, oh, okay, never mind, we won't even, give this any attention. No, they will go through the reviews, they will go and check it, and they will hopefully update their game, depending on what the kind of feedback is. And hopefully we do get quite a positive response, because I feel like the game is in quite a positive state at the moment. So hopefully we do get that like overwhelmingly positive or mostly positive user review kind of score in the all reviews, because again, that can really help Wuthering Waves in the future in terms of getting more players over into the game. And I think that's honestly really great. Now, also another one that I thought of, which I didn't really think of in the beginning, but whenever like kind of drafting up the video and the points in this video, wait, what about Steam Deck? Now, I don't think we actually know fully if Wuthering Waves is going to be available on Steam Deck, because again, I feel like this is one of these games that would actually work perfectly with the Steam Deck. Obviously, they've added a ton of controller support and everything like that. I've actually got one myself, so if Wuthering Waves does release it on there too, I honestly might get it over on the Steam Deck, because it could be quite a fun thing just to have portably. It runs a little bit better than a mobile phone or something like that, which again, a lot of people are struggling with. So maybe people with Steam Decks could also, be benefiting from this. And honestly, I think that it's just great in general. I feel like this is the main point why people really love this coming to Steam, is because of the Steam Deck. Now, they haven't actually included any information whatsoever to suggest that it will be available in Steam Deck. You can see here, just above my head, it says Steam Deck compatibility unknown. So we don't actually know if there is going to be a Steam Deck compatibility. But I feel like, this is Wuthering Waves. They might actually work on creating a Steam Deck version, because I feel like that's going to be a big part of what gets people playing Wuthering Waves over on Steam, alongside all of the already kind of, playing players that have just come over for PC and have come over maybe from the discoverability or something like that. So again, I'm going to be very excited to see if it does go to the Steam Deck. It does say here as well that Steam is learning about this game. So maybe they're in talks with Kuro Games and stuff like that to kind of get this going and get it, working, because I feel like it is something that would work, because as I said, they've already got controller support and stuff like that. So I feel like it shouldn't be that hard to get it over on the Steam Deck. And they do have a month, as I said over on this announcement, they said it's coming out on April 29th, which is, just a couple of days over a month. So I'm very excited to see when this comes out. And obviously we've got other versions coming out too. For example, like the Mac version, which is set to come out, I think, in a couple of days now. Now, honestly, I don't think that's going to set any kind of like massive waves in the community in terms of player base, but I do think it's just an extra place to get that game out there, to get that game discoverable, to get that game noticed, which honestly I think is great. And I feel like the Mac version is still a very good idea from Kuro Games for that, and hopefully a lot of people who do actually play on Mac can come over to the game and finally play it. And then finally, for the last kind of thing that I wanted to mention, was with version 2.2. PlayStation actually put out this post for version 2.2, and it was a 6-second clip of the Aero Rover stuff, which I thought was really cool, because again, they just have the little kind of animation, and they put Wuthering Waves version 2.2 launches on March 26th. Full details on the main quest, new characters and more, and they've got a link there. So it's really great to see that they still do interact with each other. It's not just something where Wuthering Waves has gone onto PlayStation and they don't talk about it again. It seems like PlayStation have really onboarded this and, helped out by giving like announcements on their main page, because this has got 6.2 thousand likes and also 399,000 views. It's going to get seen by a lot of people who just follow PlayStation, and honestly, it's great that these companies are kind of working together and working to get Wuthering Waves out there and promote it a little bit more. Now, finally, for the stuff that I want to see Wuthering Waves come to, I think it's kind of obvious now. I've said this in quite a lot of videos. The last kind of platforms I think Wuthering Waves needs to reach out to is Nintendo Switch 2, which honestly, it's not even out yet, so, they still got a little bit of time, and also Xbox. I feel like those are the two platforms that could actually be great. Now, Xbox, I'm not too worried about, because again, I don't think the audience is big enough, but I do feel like, maybe it could be a little bit of a step up. We've seen Genshin Impact do it, and we've seen a couple of other games do it as well. So hopefully Wuthering Waves can go and branch out there. And obviously the Nintendo Switch 2, for obvious reasons, it's handheld. It could be something similar to the kind of Steam Deck. So again, it'll be great to see something like that also, coming to a new console, because again, more discoverability, more chances for people to play, which equals more players. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this overall. I'm very excited for the Wuthering Waves Steam version to actually come out, because again, it's going to be so great. I just feel like, all of these features that I mentioned in this video will help out Wuthering Waves a ton, and I can't wait to see what the player base and what the Wuthering Waves community is like in a couple of months when this update actually does drop and when it does come out on Steam. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and also go to GameStop, use my code CASA, get 10% off, and I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.